Hello, hello, welcome back to the Lorethrough. Today we're handling episode 36. I ended abruptly last time because I wanted to keep the episodes as close to 30 minutes as possible. I didn't really have too much to talk about, but now, today, staring at this chair. Very good content. No designs I recognize fundamentally, just looks like a bunch of swirly floral-ish patterns. If we see anything like it, we'll keep our eyes open. I wanted to take a look at the Ice Crest shield, because we didn't last time. Small metal round shield, heavier than a wooden shield, but boasts higher damage negation. This Ice Crest originates from a Carian princess. Though the effect is slight, it boosts magic, damage negation, and resistance to frost. And sure enough, when we put it on, we see that meter pop up. That's the meter getting longer for frost and bleed, actually, which is kind of funny because that means it's buffing our which stat is that? It's probably robustness. Could be vitality, actually. Can I get a help description on this one? So immunity is for poisons. Robustness is blood loss, focus is sleep and madness, and vitality is death. Okay, so it's robustness. Blood loss and frostbite. So it doesn't just boost immunity frostbite, they decide to just, it gives you a little bonus to your robustness stat, which is a smidge silly because they specify one, but it gives you two. It's almost like they got lazy. And to be fair, I probably wouldn't want to divvy it up too if I had two resistances governed by the same stat. Wow. Great sword stun locks. Very good. It's coming back up here. We are going to go over here. Oh, we see a ghost on the ladder hinting at what we should do, because the height bonus is very much appreciated. There is a noble up here. A lethargic one who is now gone. I failed going up the stairs. How embarrassing. I'm gonna fire up this sword because I'm thinking now that a lot of these enemies are gonna be magic resistant over here. You have time for this? There we go. Oh, thank you. Now you better drop your sword or I will be right upset. Usually there's a really high chance of dropping it, so he better. Oh, looks like he dropped something. There it is. It might even be a 100% chance. Maybe that item was not necessary. And this might be a weapon we add to our repertoire, since it is a strength int weapon. Mostly strength. Mostly strength. It's a very comely weapon. I'm glad they shrunk it down for our size. We could not wield one about his size. But even unupgraded, it's got good AR. 265. And it weighs less than the grafted sword, but more than the Zweihander. It actually has lunge attacks just like the Zweihander. I think it might be a smidge shorter. We're going to compare. We are going to compare. Yeah, it's a good deal shorter than the Zweihander. Feels bad though, because it's such a comely weapon, and it comes with Troll's Roar, which is this shout, followed up by this heavy. Both very hard to interrupt, both do a lot of damage, a lot of poise damage. The initial roar can knock people off cliffs, so it's a very good tool to have. It's the earliest we can get Troll Roar as an Ash of War. Great sword embedded with a blue glintstone. With a big blue glintstone. Weapon of the trolls in service to the royal family of Caria. Called into service when the queen invoked an oath they swore, the trolls are treated as true knights of Caria and fight arm in arm with their human comrades. So that's interesting. They called into service when the queen invoked an oath they swore. What kind of oath would they have sworn? Why would they have sworn such an oath? Very good question. So here we have some pages. These guys are also really hard to stumble. Oh, come on. Nonsense. Oh, it just shrugs off attacks. I don't know why those guys are so hard to stumble. They're wearing, like, cloth armor. And then we fought some of those little wizards that had this sword, this wooden sword. Take a look at that. A sword with a glintstone in its handguards, wielded by scholars of the Lazuli Conspectus who seek to master carrion sorceries. So it seems there was a department of Rea Lucaria, and they studied sorceries known by the Carians. Apparently, once used as a staff of sorcery, this sword is made of wood. And it's similar to the Carrion Knight Sword, at least in terms of damage. I believe the Carrion Knight Sword's a smidge better. And I think that the Lazuli Glintstone Sword leans slightly towards magic, and it doesn't get that bonus from Dex. It's also smaller in terms of weight, but it has a different Ash 4. I really like this one. It used to be way better, but I still like it. It's a Glintstone Pebble, followed up by the lunging attack. So, just like the Ash of War we got from good old Rogier. It's interesting to note that just like the Carrion Knight Sword, it has the same heavy attack. But it's fun to have a sword that has a spell on it like that. Alright, we won't do the boss fight just yet. The robes of these fellows. Here he is. Lazuli robe. Robe worn by scholars of the Lazuli Conspectus, singular among the greater Rea Lucaria Academy. These scholars, who sought to master Carrion sorcery, instead learned to see the moon as equal to the stars. This robe, in the hue of the full moon, signifies their heresy. Kind of interesting that it's called a heresy like that. Yeah, and they just have their own chest piece and helmet. They wear the same leg wraps and arm wraps as the other sorcerers, which we will read when we actually run into them. But so it seems that some of the Lazuli Conspectus were friendly with the Carians even after the Civil War. We have some more pots to deal with. I had a thought. What was my thought? Ooh, I want that back. Give it back. What was my thought? Oh, goodness. Oh, right. The soldiers. We've seen Rea Lucaria, or sorry, Cuckoo soldiers as ghosts. But we know that the Carians and the Cuckoo were at war. So it makes me wonder if after the Cuckoo were slain, the Carians found a way to reanimate their fighting spirit for their benefit, or if they created spirits made out of magic just to mock them. Hard to say what those soldiers were that we were fighting earlier, because the Cuckoo are most certainly not allied with the Carians. It's kind of what the whole lore of this area is about, is their fight between each other. And wow, parad swords are way too good. I want to use the the Troll Knight sword more, but it's not upgraded. I could go upgrade it. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll upgrade it and use it on the boss fight. That'd be funny. Maybe we'll do just that. I think we have the supplies. We're not at a level 3 Somber Stones yet, right? Yeah, we have 4 more. We're not going an inch farther until I have done the PvP challenge for Liurnia. That's kind of why I'm locking myself at this level. So in the most recent patch, they really nerfed jump attacks, and they nerfed an ability. They nerfed determination and its stronger version called Royal Knight's Resolve, right? And that was patch 1.09 that they did that. And so they kind of shifted the meta from doing a lot of damage in single hits to it just kind of reinforced the DPS meta. So twin swords are in, big heavy weapons and jump attacks are out, which is a shame. I kind of liked having both, honestly. Now, to my knowledge, they may have just nerfed Determination and Royal Knight's Resolve for PvP, and in PvE they may still be fantastic. I should look into that. I don't remember. It's definitely nerfed for PvP. It may be nerfed in both, or just the first. And now we have Carrion Grandeur. Grandeur. I think that's how it's pronounced. Which is actually an Ash of War. So it's much like the Great Sword that we could summon. The one that charges up twice. Do I even still have that on anything? It's on, yeah, Carrion Greatsword. It's on this Misericord, right? And then Carrion Grandeur is an Ash of War we just found, but it's already on the Carrion Knightsword, right? So showing it off. This charges once, twice, and then slam. And the other one charges once, twice, 3 times, and then slam. So it's just an upgraded version. I don't know if it's cheaper. It might be. 16 FP cost, 26 FP cost. And I don't believe it costs more mana for each tier. It's just how much time you're willing to put into it. So it does cost more, and it might hit a smidge harder. It definitely hits harder at full charge, mostly because the other one can't charge up as many times. So let's go say hi to EG really fast. We'll upgrade the Troll Knight Sword for giggles. Yeah, the Troll Knight Sword. Because we are interested in this weapon, because it is a strength weapon with a smidge of intelligence, which is right up our alley. Or it will be in time. Yeah, so it's a somber weapon, so we want to upgrade it once, twice, and 3 times, and leave it there. We don't want to go to +4 yet. We want all of our weapons to be equal so that when I eventually go do the PvP challenge, this character will at least have equal weapons. This will not be a great build for PvP. Mostly because of the strength and the dex and the vigor. Like, it's good that I focus mostly on 3 stats, but I don't really have armor. If I was really doing a PvP build, especially at level 60, I would probably just focus on 1 damage stat and health. So, like, strength and vigor, and that's it. Maybe a couple points. I'd probably have more talisman slots unlocked. So we're going to be very unoptimized for PvP, but it'll be funny. We'll have a good time with it. That's not today. I don't even know how many episodes in the future that might end up being. Because was this episode 36? Depending on how fast we go, might be all the way until episode 40. Okay, yeah, I did upgrade this. That's the whole reason we did that. I can do the crouch pokes. Actually, I might be able to do a power attack. Oh, very good. Oh, are you kidding me? Oh, I love that. That felt nice. Bad dog. I love this weapon. Because now it has 401 AR, which I think we can get halberds with more than that if we give them the Scholar's Armament buff. But that's fine. It mostly leans towards physical. That's okay. That's quite alright with me. 104 FP. 104 FP. So if we don't use any more mana on our way to the boss fight, we can summon Lutel and then drink a potion, and that'll be a good times. Excuse me, don't mind me. Excuse me, I'm gonna go on the right stairs because there's 1 fewer dude. Hello. Nice. So here we have the boss room. We have a giant bowl. He can still shoot me. That's so mean. He shouldn't be able to do that. I don't like that. There's a fog wall there for anyone else. Okay. But yeah, we have this ring of stairs. Or, sorry, God. We have stairs over there. We have this ring of chairs. Just mixing thoughts. As to be absolutely incoherent. But if we enter the middle of this arena, we get Royal Knight Loretta. Now, we're going to make use of Troll's Roar, which Witch has monstrous poise. Probably more than we want to have, honestly. Ouch. And Lutel is just fantastic at getting the thing's attention. This big ol' Spectral Knight. I'm glad we take a good step forward before doing the overhead swing. It gives it a little more range. Just... oh, that does so much damage. There we go. And she's probably resistant magic, so not the best weapon, but Troll's Roar is that good. If you're willing to make trades. So we get Loretta's Great Bow and Loretta's Slash. So I have 2 new sorceries to show off. I wasn't certain if we needed to do much of the carry-in backyard, as I like to call it. But we'll figure it out. So we don't need Glintstone Arc. Probably don't need Slicer either. So those are my 2 most used. Carrion Piercer and the Great Bow. And then, of course, we always want our flavor Starlight. There we go. So now we can show off Carrion Piercer. That's a very good hat. Oh, that's a great spell. I love the melee spells in this game. So much more than the other ones. They feel more honest. And then Carrion Longbow, the polar opposite. You can charge it up, release it. And it's a snipe. You can have a snipe. And I believe, I may not be correct, but I believe after defeating that Loretta figure, that the spell over the castle is broken and we don't get hit with bolts of magic anymore. But here's a giant version of the balls that collect Starlight. We have these big sheafs of what are the same color as Starlight. The Starlight shards, I should say. In the backyard of Rhea Lucaria. This is some time this episode. So perhaps we will go out there and do some exploring. And you know what? We'll talk to everyone back there. There's no reason not to. First things first, though. Yes, you see it over there to the right, don't you? A dragon. A dragon I'm not going to fraternize with just yet. Mostly because dragons spook me. And we're going to leave him alone. But here is a beetle here to signal a spot where we can hop down. I find it curious. Come down here. Alright, we have all these steps. And for some reason, I'm not even sure how to get to it, right? So we'll go down that hole in a moment. That's the important place. But on these shingles, here we find 5 old fangs. I love how there's a different sound for the shingles walking versus the stone. It's little touches like that. It shows you that they care. The developers, I mean. Yeah. I'm not even certain how to get over there, actually. There's just like a crab chilling on one of the ramparts. There's gotta be a way. You know what? Screw it, we're gonna try. I'm gonna see what's over in this direction. I don't think I've ever explored on this wall before. This is probably a horrible idea. Because we need to go in there and talk to a character. We should have probably did that first. But I've seen that crab before. Oh, there's wood. Okay, I've never been over here. Never had occasion to. What's this item? Slumbering egg, 3 of them. Not really worth it. But hey, we're here to explore. We're here to have a good time. Yeah, and there's just the crab. There he is, just chilling here. He's on the opposite part from where that abductor virgin is. Oh, he's got a blue item. Well, Mr. Man, I hope you don't mind. No. I didn't want to attack. Oh, he actually knocked me out of it. That feels bad. I should have more hyper armor. Silly place for a crab. Stone Sword Key. That's why I never visited over here. This pops you out right outside. Yeah, that's funny. Alright, we'll go back to the boss room and quickly make our way down there again. Wasting your time with trivia. Well, now I know how to get to that crab, so hey, even after over 1,000 hours of gameplay, God, I've played this game so much, I'm still learning stuff about the game. Now that one's not so consequential, but it's still something I didn't know. Which kind of shows the enormity of my hubris, thinking I can do a lore through and go through the game and tell you all the lore. I'll tell you as much as I know, which is a good deal. There'll always be more. Remember how I said Sieghelm, the foreman, was probably going to use simple weapons because he likes them so much, and here I am really liking the Carrion Straight Sword, the Troll's Sword, which are... they're ornate. Now, they're not as horribly ornate as, say, some of the, like the Golden Halberd from the Golden Order. Like, that thing was shaped bad. This thing is, like, shaped better. It's really broad, right? And it seems like it would be a poor idea to give it all these gemstones, right? Especially right there in the middle of the blade, where the tang probably needs to eventually go into the handle. Hopefully there's metal beneath it, and it's just kind of like an indent for the glintstone, right? It could be solid. I hope it's not. Be very poor design in that case. Now the Carrion Knight Sword has no such excuse. It looks like it pretty much is glintstone from blade, and then there's gap. Yeah, there's the gap, and then the handguard is a different metal, and then it looks like the glintstone goes down into the handle. Now, hopefully glintstone is a very tough material, and it's worthwhile. I mean, we use it as projectiles, so maybe it is. Maybe it is a really tough projectile. I've seen it shatter, though. We've shattered it ourselves. Spell-proof dried lumber. Big piece of glintstone there, even. And won't you know it? Weird, crumpled Raya-Lucarian soldiers. Crumpled, kind of like a puppet, honestly. But this one isn't hostile to us. In fact, in this area, we can't swing our weapon. We have the icon of no violence. No violence. So let's talk to this fellow.
Oh, you? Sorry, your worship. I apologize for any offense given. I am Pidia, servant to the Carrion royal family. I am charged with maintaining these ghastly dolls.
And the reason we came here, he's actually the reason I wanted to complete Caria Manor earlier.
Other than the puppets,
So they are puppets.
fine things up here in this.
So it seems he's the reason why there's Raya-Lucaria soldiers throughout Caria Manor for us to fight.
Before you go, but please, can you offer poor ill-starred Pidia a little something by way of compensation?
So he wants to make trade. He wants a profit. So he gives us a ritual pot, our second, which are those big pots. We haven't had a use for them just yet. A celestial dew, I believe our first. A hidden tear found in the Eternal City, also known as a night tear, allows one to carry out an absolution at the Church of Vows, reversing all antagonizations. Once upon a time, the stars of the night sky guided fate, and this is a recollection of those times. So it seems you can reverse fate a little bit. Wish we could zoom in on that icon there. It seems to have a very ornate stopper for the top of this bottle. We'll grab one of those. A larval tear, of which we have 3. Materially required by the amber egg cradled by Renala, Queen of the Full Moon, to birth people anew. Being born anew allows the reallocation of attributes boosted by leveling up. So it seems interesting that we might meet Renala at some point, and she might have something to do with respecking. Though she is demigod in title alone, not in actuality, but she has demigod children. Yeah, so we'll grab that. Glintstone Craftsman's Cookbook 7, Cold Bone Arrows and Bolt. We get Carrion Retaliation, which is a parry for a shield that can also parry spells. My favorite parry. Saying no to spells is awesome. Ripple Blade, a unique weapon wielded by young Albinaurics. We haven't seen them use it yet, though. We haven't even met young Albinaurics, actually. We've only met the really old-looking ones and the ones that look like Latenna, who uses a bow. This sword is... It's modeled after the ripples that are thought to be the origin of their species. It has the axe attack pattern, so them calling it a sword in the description kind of threw me for a whirl. Its attack power is greatly enhanced by one's arcane attribute, and sure enough, it doesn't scale with anything except arcane. It has a scaling out in arcane even before it's upgraded. Black leather shield. Round shield covered in black leather on the larger side for a medium-sized shield. From the north, this shield depicts the polar star in rivets of gold. The inside is lined with fur, protecting the carrier from frost. So it's another thing that protects from frost. Weathered map, sorry. A simple, badly weathered map. Left discarded and forgotten for some time. Further details are available only to paying customers. We'll buy that as well. We don't need any of these right now. And he goes about his business. But now we have access to the good parry. My favorite parry. In fact, if we have the carry weight for it. It would make sense to put it on the Ice Crush shield. I'd have to upgrade it though. For now, we will slap it on the Banished Knight shield. Yeah, actually, no. We'll put Carrying Retaliation on the Riveted shield, and we'll put Stormwall on the Banished Knight shield. That's thematic-ish. I love this stupid sword. I like Troll's Roar. It's just a good Ash of War. It's a little hard to land in PvP, but if you do happen to land it, you can knock people off of ledges and stuff. It's very good. How much time do we have left? Not a whole lot. We might have enough time to head down here and loot some stuff. So we won't do the main portion of the backyard of Rhea Lucaria, which is those towers that we saw. And the dragon. We'll do that next time. But instead, we're going to ride past all these enemies. Because they're nothing new to us. But we do have this beetle. Oh, so close. Frozen armament, so that's a good spell for us. So in case we don't want magic damage on our weapon, we could put frost on it. Which might be very in character for Sieghelm. Seems to like to imbue mundane weapons with the smidge of magic he's learned. Could be useful in PvP as well, especially since we don't have access to a lot of frost armaments. Free damage is free damage. Okay, we're gonna complete this area of the backyard even if we go over 30 minutes by a smidge. We will have to come back here at a later point though, for reasons I will not discuss now. Oh, we can summon a friend, and there's glove warts growing back here. Not very many places you see them growing on the surface, though. It must be the fact that this place seems to be blessed by the moon. That must be it. Graveworts seem to like to grow underground and in the night sky. And to be fair, there seems to be a link between sorcerers, the moon, the night sky, and spirits of the undead. Oh, these must be our young Albinaurics, because sure enough, they have the Shamshir, a Ripple Crescent halberd, and he has the Ripple Crescent axe or sword that we saw earlier. I didn't know they could breathe ice. That's crazy. Oh, I never wield colossal weapons one-handed. It feels wrong. And he has a shield, even. So we can take a look at... Oh, God, there's so many of you. Wow, we're going to get to look at a good slew of things today. And goodbye. I even got aim punched. If you looked at the arc of the sword, it curved inward a little bit as he hit me. So now we can look at those other weapons that I have been holding on to and waiting to show off. Where is it? God, I'm not thinking today. Ripple Crescent Halberd, weapon wielded by young Albinaurics. The blade is said to resemble a partial image of a ripple, and its attack power scales with one's arcane attributes. So just like the Ripple Blade, but it is a halberd. I think it's a superior version of the weapon. It comes with S scaling already. Well, it's because I've already upgraded it. But you can actually buff these things with greases, both of the Ripple weapons. And because it has arcane scaling, those greases, if they're a status thing, they do better. So like, if you put bleed or poison or even sleep on a halberd, or one of the ripple weapons, if it has an inherent arcane scaling, that grease will scale with the arcane scaling, and it'll inflict a lot of sleep, poison, or bleed. So that's a very good option. And since they have such good scaling, you could put all your points in arcane and make this the core part of your build, and have access to a slew of statuses as long as you're willing to farm and gather all those silly greases. Here we find the Albinauric ashes, so it looks like young Albinauric, so we can learn about them, and then we'll look at their shield. I didn't forget. Well, I forgot for a moment, but I remembered. A strapping duo of cartwheeling spirits who wield ripple swords and spew freezing breath. Both are second-generation Albinaurics with dumpy heads that resemble those of frogs. Oh, and the dirty chainmail they're wearing. One of my favorite chest pieces, actually, because it gives you a gut. Chainmail worn by young Albinaurics, the appearance of a protruding belly provides no benefit worthy of note. I'll even put it on. There we go. Gives us a little bit of a paunch. I think it's funny. I use it on a cosplay I like to do when I invade people, the City Watch. Just basically a dumpy town guard who's here to arrest people, and then I pull out great damage on unassuming looking weapons, and it's a good time. It's a good time. And the shield, before I forget. A tall oval shield made of metal carried by young Albinaurics. The ornamentation represents the primordial drop of dew from which they are said to have been created. Boasts exceptional magic damage negation. The Albinaurics' most formidable foes were sorcerers, after all, so they were at odds. Even though we've seen the older generation, like Pedia in there, Pedia, who sold us stuff, and we saw one that was in the lower part of the Caria Manor, and we saw a couple wizards in the village of Albinauric. So it makes me wonder if the sorcerers of the Academy didn't like the Albinaurics, but maybe the Carians were a tad nicer to them. Maybe. Maybe. Not sure. The clubs, right. The clubs. So here's the curved club. Hard curved club shaped like a crescent moon, wielded instead of a curved sword by Albinaurics lacking dexterity. The only point of similarity between the two is the shape. That's the club we saw the guy wearing, or using. His was a bit larger, though. And in fact, there's a larger one we can find on a larger Albinaurics in the middle of the lake, but I'll show it off for now. So it's a very similar shape to each other. Honestly, very similar. But the Great Club, the Great Curve Club, this is a good weapon. It's really lightweight for what it does. Good strength weapon, if you buff it. And it has the silly spin crouch attack. There it is. You have to farm for it, though, and that's kind of a pain, but hey. Okay, what else do we have here? We have some more. Oh, we have the Red Wolf, right. And we don't know what it's called yet. We won't know what it's called for some time. But we'll see another one, and it'll be a proper boss, and it'll have a title. Oh, come on. Let me break the skull. Okay. We will use the Troll Knight's Sword. Yeah, we'll use the Troll's Knight's Sword, but we're going to bring along Lutel, because I appreciate backup. I wonder how close I can actually get to the Red Wolf before it gets pissed at me. Oh, it's already noticing things. Oh, it's already noticed Lutel. It casts sorceries, though, and it's red. Come on. I really want to hit it with the full Troll's Roar, but it may not be feasible. It may be too strong. Oh, that's bad. You can cancel out of that early, by the way. Oh, shoot. Danger. Okay, that's it. Normal attacks. What a horrible idea. Whew. I parried a spell, but it gives us those, and it hit pretty well, actually. There we go. And that's a scary enemy, especially just to have in the open world. All these things didn't seem to care. We'll hit him with the Great Bow for fun. Fully charged. 665 damage. That's not too bad at our level, honestly. It's actually fairly remarkable. And we'll hit one of these with the Carrion Piercer. Thunk. Big swords, big magic swords, all around, for everyone. There we go. Oh, perfect. Get our flasks back. And another Miquella's lily. Seems like a strange place for them to grow. We don't know the connection between Miquella and the others. Actually, does the thing even tell us who Miquella is? Water lily of vanilla gold. Flower signifying faith in hallery, thought to be beloved by the Empyrean Miquella in his youth. Okay. So we don't know a whole lot about Miquella just yet, which is a shame because there is a starting item that would give us a little more explanation on who Miquella is. But I did not grab it, and I have not read all those starting items. I should do that soon. It feels really late to do that. In fact, I missed out on all those starting items. Just feels like I'm just gimping the playthrough, but oh well. And then over here, the last notable thing before... Well, yeah, there's an iron tree. We're finally all the way up here. Look at how far we've come along this route. And we'll do the backyard next time. And then I'll start the route that goes kind of like that. Yeah, we'll be doing Central Liurnia last. Yeah, let's do the Evergen. Then we'll cut the episode after. So here we have the Onyx Lord. And he's different from the other enemies we've seen like him because he has a curved sword and he's a little bit different coloring. Hard to tell though because he glows. There we go. I wanted to show you his parryable. And guess what's going to be his wake-up call? Oh man, I love this thing. Voice damage for days. Aw. Don't get hardly any voice or hyper armor. And let's do him dirty. Pew! Oh. There we go. Oh, he shot us with a gravity bolt. Kind of like the combination of the huge sword plus carrier and piercer. It's like, look, another big sword you didn't see. And we got the meteor sorcery, which I'm fairly certain we can't wield yet. But we'll look at its description before we cut the episode. Yep, 30 int. Not going to get that for a bit, mostly because keeping myself at a low level intentionally. One of the glintstone sorceries that manipulates gravitational forces, so it's got a new background from all the others. It has a gravity sigil. Summon a void that emits a rain of small meteorites. Hold to continue the effect. This sorcery originates from the Onyx Lords, who had skin of stone and were called lords in reverential fear of their destructive power. So we don't know much about the Onyx Lords, but he seemed to be made of stone, but like thin stone. We could still stumble him a lot more than the rock miners we've met. And he had pointed ears, no hair, and access to gravity magic. So that'll be something to keep an eye out for is Onyx Lords. He was wielding different swords than the fellow we saw on the beach all the way back in Limgrave. And we saw another one kind of like him by the beside the crater Pocked Glade in Weeping Peninsula. They had a greatsword that was straight, not a curved greatsword like his, but curious all the same. And for some reason he was put in the Royal Grave Everjail. So it seems that he was here, and for some reason the Carrions, the Royal Carrions, seem to have put him away. What crime did he commit? We could tell that Bowles, the Carrion Knight Troll, was probably an enemy of the Cuckoo, and they locked him away over here. But what did the Alabaster Lord... No, sorry, the Onyx Lord. He was an Onyx Lord. What did the Onyx Lord ever do to the Carrion Royals? Well, maybe we will find out at some point in the future. Well, thank you for joining me. Sorry the episode went a little long, but I was glad to have you here. What a pretty view. Anyways, goodbye. Have a good one. Or else. See ya.